Lockdowns and curfew hours minimize the business activities in the country, hence crippling the economy, and the tax relief announced in April 2020 was enacted to help reduce the economic shocks. However, at the start of the year, the government cut off the tax relief, and economists think the Treasury should have given the tax relief an extension despite wanting to increase the revenue collected.
Economists think reverting the tax relief from 14% back to the initial 16% by the government is premature and will affect the rate of spending.
It was to cushion people against the negative economic effects of COVID. But now we are pulling it out early. And I think the reason they are pulling it out early is because the collection side is already starting to suffer. But given the informality of our economy, I think we need to tax our mind a bit more as to how do we really get to help that guy who is below radar, but drives the economy anyway.
There are fears that the action to return the taxes that initially meant to cushion Kenyans against the pandemic will slow down the economic recovery process that is expected to take place in 2021. In most cases, high taxes mean rise in food and household item prices, but will this cause inflation?
The banks would rather lend somebody else. And that's why you see the more, if you look at the asset allocation, most of the assets now that they're creating out of the deposits is to treasury bills and treasury bonds. So just trying to play it safe. So to them, they still hold the view that these are risky assets. But when banks behave that way, they're not helping the economy because really there's no production in that. So what we want is that money that has come from depositors to go to the SMEs and grow them. And that's the only way we come out of this, because when the SMEs grow, they employ more people, we stimulate our demand, the supply comes, and we start getting out of this hole. To absorb higher prices is very low. Our inflation has remained good. It's in the 5 percentage point region, so it's okay, because I know as a policy, it's 5% plus or minus 2.5%. So as long as we're in that band, there's no cause for alarm. And we've been there for quite a while. So we've not touched 7.5, we've not touched 2.5. If we touch any of those, then there'll be intervention. But before that, it's allowed to play. Because don't forget, a little bit of inflation is important for business to grow, because you also want higher prices. So, but the question, what you don't want is, don't want them too high. So that's why they define it as, or here for our economy, 5% plus or minus 2.5%. So will it cause inflation? Yes. But inflation a bad thing? Not necessarily, for as long as it's contained within certain bands, which as a monetary policy, it's being contained. So overall, let's just think through that. What is the capacity of how much taxation can this economy take? And those calculations can be done. And then we work backwards. Yes, once we establish this is the maximum this economy can take, they work backwards with taxes that impact both the producer and the consumer as much as possible in equal share. Somebody goes into serious business.
Abraham Uthogo, an economist, recommends that banks should take risks and allow Kenyans to access loans to revive their businesses. Introduction of the taxes in the midst of crisis means that yes, the government wants to cushion its people, but it also has to cushion itself. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Joanne Kutun.